Welcome everybody to the World of Ability podcast network. My name is Emily Gilmer, and a podcast engineer here. I'm excited to bring you another episode of the World of Pets with Debbie Hayes. So this is going to be a fun show, being in an animal house and being all about our furry friends and everything connected with our furry friends. Um, So we are here every Tuesday at 8 o'clock p.m. Central, 6 p.m. Pacific. And we'd love to have all of you come on as a guest. So if you are interested in joining us, we would love that. And to connect with us, we can get that taken care of. So I'm going to pass it over to Debbie to kick us off here. Welcome, Debbie.
You're live.
All right, everybody. Thank you, Emily. Sorry that the station is giving you um, trouble appearing, as it did me for a minute. So my name is Debbie Hayes, and this, as she said, is the World of Pets podcast, streamed live to YouTube every Tuesday night. We are going to be expanding to offer it on some other platforms. And, you know, we want our pets to feel safe with us. We want them to feel our unconditional love. We certainly want them to live as long as they can, but we want them just hanging on for our convenience. So, David is my co host, and he and I have found something that we feel can facilitate the pets living longer. So, we do like to share a little bit about that, but mostly we just want to discover all things about pets. And we might laugh, we might cry, but as I said, discover all things about pets. So tonight we're going to talk about our pets. We talked about pet safety a few weeks ago, but tonight we're going to talk about pet safety in the wake of disasters. I know that where I live, the fire department, the next town starts about a half mile down.
I'll pick it up from there because uh, I spoke with Debbie earlier actually about posting a sign, and she was about to segue into the fact that the fire department offers stickers to say, hey, there's a pet in the house and all that stuff. I prefer to say, hey, there's three small dogs in the house. They could be in the three upstairs bedrooms or the two downstairs bedrooms and or the backyard. So pet safety and preparedness is really, I mean, it starts with your veterinarian, clearly, with that, with whatever medication they're on and all that stuff. But when it comes to first responders, you should probably have a sign on your front door or right next to the front door, because if there's an emergency, if there's a power outage, a blizzard, if there's a fire in the house, anything like that, hurricane. I live in Colorado. I don't have to worry about hurricanes. We worry about hurricanes here. We call those tornadoes, but they do happen here, and it's very important to know if you are unable to be home during those emergencies that you have somebody there that can actually respond and know where to find your pets. If they're in kennels, you need to let them know. And that should be on the front door. If they're going to be left in the backyard, you should let them know. If they're going to be left in a dog run out back, you should let them know. Because anything can happen in an instant, especially in a state like Colorado, which we can go from 85 degrees like today, and it was 95 degrees yesterday. But those are conditions you don't want your dog left outside in. So we want to keep our dogs inside. We want to communicate with our friends, roommates, neighbors, that kind of stuff. But having the sign on the front door, as far as the first responders go, is a really big step in the right direction for your pet safety. Welcome back, Deb.
Thank you. Can you hear me for a minute?
I can.
That's the second time I got thrown off tonight, so I'm not going to promise it's not going to happen again. Yeah, that's a really good point, David. And I I just feel like they do. Obviously, they're innocent. Um, Other than barking, some they don't know how to tell a first responder where they might be, and they may be too afraid to bark, or they may be getting overcome with smoke inhalation in the case of a fire. So, really important that they do know. And as I said, that the town that's about a half mile from me, I know that the fire department actually gives out something for the people to put on their door or near their door, so the people, the fire first responders, will look for that, and they'll know at least they'll know that there are pets there. But I think that your idea about letting the people know where the pets might be, or especially let them know if they're crated, because obviously if they're crated, they can't be running to the door and barking to alert someone that they're there.
Right.
And you were mentioning the weather, and the weather being so odd. It is monsoon season here in Arizona. Um, Literally, I was reading a Facebook post that from a friend that was saying, "Oh, I just saw the roof blow off my house."
Oh, wow.
So yeah, apparently, I mean, they were okay. Their pets were okay. It was sort of funny because there was somebody that had responded to the post that had just sold this individual a tower garden. You know, the hydroponic indoor vegetable grower, and the owner's going, "Yes, my tower garden is okay," but apparently the
That's the
roof
important
wasn't.
part, I guess, right?
Yeah. Let's get our priorities straight. Well, I mean, hey, it means that they'd be able to eat. So have a little
Right.
bit to eat anyway. So
Yep.
yeah, but yeah, it's a funny. I mean, for us, it's a funny time of year because the monsoon season. It can be nice in the morning and really crazy in
Yeah.
the
Well,
afternoon and evening.
if you check, I went live today because even in Colorado Springs, Colorado, we had you say monsoon. I call it just erratic weather. We had a downpour that our gutters couldn't keep up with. It was hailing. I had to go back and check my plants. Didn't have to water today, by the way, because we got like an inch and a half of moisture in like 20 minutes. And it was just pouring
Wow,
off of everything.
wow.
Yeah. So, I
Hmm.
mean, that's important not to have your dog or pet out inside of that, right, Pooh? You would have been really mad at me. You would have been mad. We couldn't have
Yeah.
had. We would not have been able to keep
Yeah.
the barbecue with it. What? You don't
Yeah.
like your story.
Yeah, a couple of other topics other than the fire. Um, and this is a little bit of a recap, but we did have Diana on a few weeks ago, and she talked about traveling with pets. Um, And her big thing was to make sure that somehow your pet is tethered inside the car, because somebody that she knew, and they do a lot of rallies with motorhomes. They make it a point to go where there's seniors so that they can introduce the products that I mentioned, which are powered by the Coriolis versicolor mushroom. It's a medicinal mushroom, and wants to be able to introduce those to people that might have a pet that's ill. Um, but they had a woman who felt that it was safer for her to be holding the dog. They did have an accident, and the airbag deployed, and it did kill the dog.
Oh,
And then the dog ended up getting thrown in her face, and she actually had facial injuries
oh
because
my
of
god.
that. So, um, yeah, there are places where you can buy the pet stores that you can buy tethering equipment so that you can have your animal tied in while you're traveling in the car with them.
Well, what I do actually,
Anything?
Deb, is I've got the little doggy bag, if you will, quote unquote. Peyton crawls right in. He's got his blanket in there. He pops his head out front. But it's got the shoulder strap, and what I do with the shoulder straps, I put it over my passenger seat. So if anything happens, he's in the bag, fully contained, and there isn't a major chance of his injury. He's out of the reach of the airbag, and he cannot, like, if I hit something head on, he wouldn't be able to swing more than like a foot and a half. So that's what I do for this little guy. But big dogs, it's probably definitely an issue to have them tethered for real, because I know a lot of dogs like to have their head out the window, and or maybe even in the back of a pickup truck. I never understood why people would do that. That's a little risky to me, but I mean, there's two risks there. You've got you get in an accident, the dog's just flopping around and getting cast around anywhere, or you go
Yep.
and park and the dog's in the back of the truck, and then somebody goes to pet him and they bite somebody. All right, so now we're not talking dog safety. We're talking about animal control coming, giving you a citation, you having a medical bill, and all that stuff too. So that's a really good point. As far as transportation goes, that's really important.
Yeah. The As far as having the dog in the back, I mean, number one, this day and age, you wouldn't put it past somebody to steal the dog.
Right.
So that would also be an issue. And then, like you were talking about the temperature there, of course, in Arizona, it's most days it's over 100 right now.
Right.
And whether they're inside the car or whether they're in the back, you can't be leaving them. Even if your windows are down, obviously the dog has a chance to survive, but it's still not going to be comfortable for them if you don't leave the car running with the air conditioning on. Um, but yeah, I thought that was a very tragic thing that Diana pointed out to us, and she did definitely in her little go bag that she had. She definitely had things to tether the animals so that they would not be able to be floating around, whether it was a doggy seat belt or something else. So, um, yeah. So,
It could
what
be as
about this? Is
little
because
as
we don't.
uh,
Turn.
it could be as simple as just
Pardon me.
tightening. It could be as simple as tightening the leash around the back of the headrest, something like that, just to make sure your dog's not, you know, going to go for a ride. If you run into something, hit a big bump, any of that stuff, they're going to be stationary in most scenarios.
Right. Well, yeah, but you still have to think about neck injuries. if they got jerked because the collar was around them.
Right.
So that could be an issue in that respect.
Well,
Um,
that's why we like
but we don't,
harnesses.
I don't, yeah, I don't think we've ever taken our dogs to the beach. Have you? Do you ever go to like lake or any body of water, and what do you do with the dog in that case?
Well, I took Peyton's dad when he was a fairly young puppy before he had Peyton. I took him to Pueblo Reservoir in Colorado, and we kind of let him off leash and let him do his thing. His particular breed doesn't really run off, if you will, but they do like to patrol the perimeter.
Uh
Well,
huh.
he ended up eating a dead fish that either washed up to shore or was just there for a while. And we were out swimming, and I picked him up, and he threw up the fish on me. So I'm guessing probably not healthy for dogs to be roaming this, lakes and stuff like that. I was like, wait a minute, what? Oh my gosh, that's never gonna happen again. So yeah, every time I took him to the beach after that, they were on untethered because it was not cool. Oh,
No,
poo.
no, not for either one of you. I'm sure it didn't. I'm sure it didn't taste very good for him, as well as not being
Yeah.
uh, pleasant to get it
And
thrown up
I'm
on you.
grateful that he
So
didn't get sick from the incident. So let's just put it that way.
right, right. But they don't. But they didn't go swimming out in the water, really.
Well, he followed me
You're,
out in the water, and when I turned around
am I
and I
interpreting
picked
that
him,
correctly?
well, no, he followed me out into the water after he already found the fish, and when I picked him up, he was doing his little thingy because that's what dogs do when you pick them up out of the water. Super cute, by the way. But it
Right,
was like 10 seconds later that he threw up what he just ate, and I was like, "All right, yeah, you're going back. We're cutting this one short because I don't want my dog to die."
right. Yeah, that would not be good. None of us want our pets
So it was a hard lesson
to
learned.
die.
But
So,
I'm over it.
what else, David? What else can you think of as far as pet safety?
Oh boy. Um, Public places, keep small dogs away from big dogs, unless they're on a leash. Um,
Yeah.
I mean, that's just the big thing. Small dogs tend to gurr and bark and sniff butts, but you get around a big dog and somebody thinks there's a snack in the neighborhood, small dog's going to snap and the big dog's going to respond. It's just Peyton Poo here. He's been bit 4 times by big dogs, and it hasn't been, he
Hmm.
hasn't been the one provoking it. It's just how dogs are. So I highly recommend um, keeping your dogs on a leash, even if you're just going to go for a walk and cross the street. So, I let my dog off the
Yeah.
leash when he goes to the backyard because it's fenced in. But out front and we go for a walk, no, forget about it. He's on a leash. Because I can cross the street. If I see a big dog coming, I can walk across the street. I can get out of the way and prevent a potential confrontation, and that's most people that I see that walk in our neighborhood do that. They don't let them like cross paths like in the sidewalk. They'll move around, go to the middle of the street or go to the other side of the street, those kinds of things. I think that's the responsible thing to do. It's
Right.
not that the people don't want to talk. It's not that we don't want to talk to their dogs. It's not that we don't want to show love to the dogs. We just don't want an incident. And that's the biggest thing I can take away from that.
Right. Oh yeah. Definitely. Definitely. Just like at the dog park. You
Mhm.
just have to. I think we discussed this a little bit before. That you take toys to the dog park, and then if the toys get loose, um, two dogs decide that they want the toy, then that can be another issue that would be
Right.
similar to what you were talking about with walking and not being aware of your surroundings there.
Yep.
And remember what I said, uh, if you have two dogs in an altercation, get behind the aggressor and pick up both hind legs,
Hmm.
and the dog has to let go of the other dog no matter how much it doesn't want to,
Right.
just because it's concerned about its balance. We had a dog attacking another dog at the dog park. This was years ago, and but luckily I had seen this technique work before, and I did learn it at the dog park in the middle of an altercation. But I couldn't even get I couldn't even get both legs. So I finally, because that other dog was really getting beat up badly, so I just
Right.
finally grabbed, and I ended up with one leg, and I went with that. And even with that, the dog is off balance enough that it cannot get around like to bite me, and
Right.
it's just basically trying to get its what do we want to say? Just trying to get acclimated again. Can't figure out probably why it can't stand up, but
Trying to get its
yeah,
bearings. I mean, that's like if you trip on the sidewalk and you fall down, and you're stunned for a minute. You don't know what's going on, and you know, like even with Peyton Poo, all I got to do is tap him on his butt. He can't see or hear anymore, and so I tap him on his butt, and he'll turn around and sniff me out. So it's
uh-huh.
just quick action on his back to get his attention away from what is in front of him. You know, even if he's sniffing a hot dog, if I tap his butt, he'll turn around and look at me immediately. So that's a natural, if you will, like you said, knee jerk reaction to, you know,
Yep.
protect your hindsight, if you will.
Literally. Yeah, but it's good that they want to do that because it does break up a fight
Right.
for sure.
Yep.
So, yeah. All right. Did you have anything else to add? I know this is going to be a shorter version tonight, but I'm going to tell you people a little bit about what's going to happen next week. But did
Well,
you have anything else
you
to
go
add
ahead.
about the safety of our pets?
I really don't have anything else to add. Go ahead and give your spiel because uh, I honestly, I think I've divulged most of my mistakes. I'll probably remember some more in the future, but that's the important part about having discussions is, hey, oh yeah, I messed up there, and what did I do to adjust that in the future, kind of stuff. But dogs are just like children. You want to raise them to be happy, healthy, and all that goodness. You want to feed them well. You want to give them good supplements, just like we take. Um, Deb, you take it from there. This is a good conversation.
All right, very good. And before I pass it over to Emily to close us out, um, this week we were supposed to have Paula join us, but Paula has a family member that is either dying or gone already. I'm not sure which, but so she did postpone until next week, and she we've talked about death and about different ways to to dispose of our pets' remains. Um, Shannon came on and told about how somebody came to the house and actually euthanized their pet at the house. But this gal is the next step after that. So she actually um, cremates with water instead of fire. So she's going to tell us. She did explain at the event where I met her a little bit about it, but I'm not going to divulge so that she can tell about it next week in greater detail and hopefully have some pictures of the general facility, not hopefully with any clients in there. But if someone's pet passes away, then they call her and she comes and picks up the body. And and as I said, she has a system that that she does cremate them with water instead of with fire. So, and she is able to identify the bones of which pet is which, and then um, she does turn the bone into the powder, which is what we get in the urn when we're getting the urn of our pets. So hopefully Paula will be back and be able to join us next week, and if not, we'll get another guest on that can tell us about what they do with pets. So, Emily, take it away, please.
That'll be a fascinating interview, by the way.
Yes, I think it will be too.
Yeah, I can't wait for that one.
Yeah. Yep. Thank you, Emily.
All right, thank you everybody for coming or tuning in this week. Um, and then we'll be back again the same time next week. And urge everybody to check out our YouTube channel and at World of Pets Podcast on YouTube and our LinkedIn page and other social media and so on. Um, and I guess until next week, have a safe and productive week and to stay happy.
Thank you.
Thanks, Emily. Thanks, Dad.